Network is an educational board game designed to simulate a computer network. It is a cooperative game, which means that the players all work together towards the same goal, and everyone wins together. It is also real-time, which means that players don't take turns one after another, but rather they all act at once continuously. So how does it work? In computer science, any set of two or more connected nodes form a network. It may have a small amount of nodes, like a LAN or local area network, or it can have tens of billions of nodes, like the internet does. Each computer on the network is something called a network host. A network host may offer information resources to other nodes in the form of packets of data. However, each host is not directly connected to every other host. Imagine if you had an Ethernet cable connected to each of the billions of hosts on the internet. Instead, each host will have one or more neighbors with which they can connect to and exchange information. So a packet may have to hop across multiple hosts to get to its destination. Computers are able to do this thousands of times every single second. Network, the game, works the exact same way. At the start of the game, each player receives a host card. The host has two important pieces of information. First, it gives you a host name. This tells you who you are. Second, it gives you 3 connections. Just like in a computer network, you will only be able to interact with your immediate neighbors. This detail is crucial because otherwise the game would be a breeze. Next, each player also receives 3 packet cards. Each packet you have is another host's request for data. Therefore, it is up to you and everyone else you're working with to make sure these packets get to their destination. For example, these packets should be sent to ace.com, route66.gov, and toomuchtodO.org. That is the goal of the game, for all packets to reach their correct hosts. The number of packets in play will depend on the number of players. Once all packets are delivered successfully, all players win together. The goal of the game is to do this as quickly as possible. And before you get started, there are 2 more quick details to cover. You have 3 neighbors, but at the start, you won't know which players control which hosts. So in order to figure out who you can communicate with, who your neighbors are, you'll have to broadcast. So broadcasting is when you send a message to multiple different hosts at once. To broadcast, you ask a question meant for one recipient to a whole crowd. For example, you need to contact your neighbor ace.com, but don't know who they are. You're allowed to announce to everyone that you're looking for ace.com so you can exchange information with them. This leads to the other detail, which is establishing a connection. When computers connect to one another, they first perform a handshake protocol where they establish the rules for communication. To emulate this, when you want to communicate with one of your neighbors, you must literally shake their hands first. Additionally, you can only communicate with one other host at a time. You cannot be talking to 2 of your neighbors at the same time. And that's everything you need to know to play Network. You can find a link to the instruction booklet and print and play in the description, and you can stay tuned to see a gameplay run through. 3, 2, 1, go.
Hello, I am looking for 10.net. Hello, 10.net. I am
Oh, I'm not connected to 7. I am toomuchtodO.org.
You're toomuchtodO.
Yes.
Well, we can combine our sets so that it'll be easier for you to pass them on.
Okay.
Oh wait, you're looking for 2? No, I'm looking.
Yeah, I'm 2.
I'm
But
looking
you
for
have
I have an 8 and you have a 2.
Hi,
you are 2.
I am.
Hello, I'm looking for
Yeah, I am.
Hello.
Whoa.
I am
So many for you.
Thank you.
Alright, thank you.
I think we have.
Oh,
Not yet, not yet.
You pass this on?
I'll pass it on to you.
Thank you. And
Handshake. Beginning handshake.
Hello, beginning handshake.
Okay. I got two for you.
Okay. Are you
I'm not 9 Jack.
are you connected?
To who?
9.
Yes, I'm connected.
Who's
Nine,
next?
yeah.
Alright, can you give this?
I have things
Hi,
for you.
Nine. Hello.
Let's talk
Hi,
to
I'm
you.
Nine.
Here you go.
Alright.
Thank you.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Okay.
And
Alright,
handshake.
Transaction event.
I'm looking for
I think it-
8.create. 10
Oh,
out.
that's me.
8.create. 10 net. Good to go. Hi. Hi, I have a packet for you.
Oh, thanks.
I'm lucky7.io.
I'm
You have 7s for me?
No, I haven't.
Oh.
I'm
I'm connected to 10 and 8.
Yeah, I did it to 9. But I'm
9? I can do that. Oh, okay, you can do that too.
You're 9 Jack.
Hello. I'm Nine.
I'm 8 Jack. There's 9 for you.
Are we done? Are we done?
Hold on, I gotta offload these. Hello.
Uh-oh.
Are you connected to 7?
Yes, I'm connected to 7.
Well, I'm not. Well, you.
Are you kidding me?
Wait, we gotta do her.
Wait, I have 7. I'm connected to 7. We're connected to 7. Are you not? We're connected to 7. Okay, then we're good. Yes, I am 7. Hi.
That's how it works.
Yay! Done. And see.
2 minutes.
Woo!
World record.